Well, hello everybody and welcome again to Project PFI. Now, because it's Christmas, this week I thought I would use a nice box of chocolates for my illustration. Today I want to talk about the Lifecycle Fund. Now, the Lifecycle Fund is established at the start of a PFI contract to make sure that repairs and replacements on your building can be carried out in a timely fashion so that at the end of the contract, typically 25 years, the building is in as good condition as at the start of the contract. And it works like this. If you imagine that these chocolates represent the money, every month the school pays a certain amount of money into the Lifecycle Fund, which is effectively a sinking fund. In this case, we're going to put 2 chocolates a month in. And over time, this pot builds up to pay for repairs. Now, of course, at the start of a contract, in the first few years, you won't really need to take much money out of this because hopefully the building will have relatively few problems. But as time goes on, things will begin to go wrong. So let's say, for example, in year 7, you find that there is a problem with your roof. Well, you've been putting your money, in this case your chocolates, into this pot. So you might be forgiven for thinking that you would simply go to this pot and take out the money needed to pay for the repairs. Well, that's when the first problem arises, because in fact this pot of money, this life cycle pot, in the vast majority of cases will not sit in your bank account. It actually sits in a bank account that is controlled by the PFI contractor. So instead of simply going to this pot of money and taking what you need out of it to pay for the repair or replacement, you actually have to go to the PFI contractor and ask the PFI contractor to sort the problem out. So that's all well and good, you think, okay, the contractor can do that. But then comes problem number 2, and problem number 2 is this. The contractor will be using their own subcontractors to make sure that the repairs are carried out, and they will also be buying the various bits of equipment and so on from their own suppliers. Now, typically these will be more expensive than how you might procure such goods and supplies on an open market through a tendering process. So you will pay more for them, but also every time you do something through the PFI contractor, the PFI contractor applies a profit margin to that. So let's say your repair to the roof costs you 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 chocolates you have to pay to the PFI contractor. It may be that actually you only get 5 chocolates worth of value from that particular piece of work. So you haven't really got best value. Now that is galling enough in and of itself. But there's another problem, which is this. At the end of the contract, you would be forgiven again for thinking that if there is any surplus in this pot of money, it would go back simply into the school's bank account. However, again, that is not often the case, because unless your life cycle contract specifically says that any surplus can go back into the school's funds at the end of the 25 years, then actually the PFI contractor will take this surplus for themselves. From this you can see that actually the PFI contractor has an interest in not investing in repairs and replacements, whereas obviously you very much have an interest in making sure as much of this is spent as possible in line with the schedule so that your school is in good condition. So how can Project PFI help with all of this? Well, I think the first thing to say is it is absolutely essential that every school understands how the life cycle spending pot is supposed to work. What Project PFI will do is we will do a survey of your estate and your buildings, and then we will compare what we find to what the life cycle schedule says we should find. So it could be, for example, that certain items should have been replaced at 10 years and at 15 years. We may well find out that that has not been the case. And then depending upon what we find, we will then use our expertise to hold the PFI contractor to account to make sure that the maximum amount from this life cycle pot actually goes into improving your school and not into improving profits for the PFI contractor. Well, that's it for this week. If you would like any more information about how PFI works and how we can help ensure that you get maximum value from your PFI contracts, then please do hit the subscribe button below, and more information will come to you every week via this video channel. Equally, if you would like simply to get in touch with us, then please do so via the website. All our details are there. You can fill in a very handy little audit tool if you want to, or email me directly, andrew@projectpfi.com. So I look forward to seeing you next week, but for now, goodbye.